A Toronto Raptors trade offer has been leaked as Masai Ujiri continues his quest to land a big fish to improve this roster going into the final year of his contract as president of this team. The Toronto Raptors have made an offer to the Boston Celtics nonetheless for Derrick White. So we are going to break down the details of this trade, how things are coming together for the Toronto Raptors, and what we can expect from this team entering the NBA draft, because things have been very all over the place in terms of Masai Ujiri's plans, offers, and what he's trying to cook up. So we'll break it all down, but folks, we are getting very close to 38,000 subscribers. So if you guys haven't hit the subscribe button just yet and you want to stay up to date with everything going on with this Toronto Raptors team as we inch closer and closer to a very important draft night for this squad, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button because we're covering it all here on Raptors Digest. But let's dive into it because frankly, it's been crazy this offseason. All the reports, all the news has been coming out regarding the Raptors' pursuit of a big fish. It's excited some people. It's frustrated some people. Some people are just sick and want to see a move happen. Well, Masai Ujiri was very active in trying to get one of these moves done as news has come out that essentially the Toronto Raptors, and we'll break down the reports in terms of the screenshots here, Justin, in addition to the teams calling about Jalen Brown, Derrick White has also been targeted by teams with top 10 picks. The Toronto Raptors recently made an offer involving the 9th pick for Derrick White. Now, this is very juicy in terms of a trade proposal, in terms of a trade piece. The Toronto Raptors are going after because this offer has been leaked. So, what's going on with Derrick White? What is he as a basketball player? And should we trust this report? Well, this comes off the backs of a report from Brian Windhorst revealing that teams in the top 10 of the 2025 NBA draft are making aggressive trade offers to the Celtics for Jalen Brown. And, Derrick White was also kind of mentioned in these lump sum discussions. And then the Celtics are getting offers and calls on both Jalen Brown and Derrick White. Their preference has been to keep both players, but they are listening. But will a team get there? So, there's been a lot of buzz, a lot of chatter, and then this just dropped minutes ago in terms of the Toronto Raptors offer, and Derrick White is a very intriguing basketball player. Now, you look at the stats, and you might say, hey, Ben, this completely, falls against your narrative of being interested in a guy, because I've been outspoken about wanting to keep RJ Barrett, wanting to keep him on the squad, and I'm still of that stance. Do not get me wrong there by any stretch of the imagination, and this offer only makes sense in terms of the other pieces that are involved in this deal, but Derrick White is the perfect complementary role player. He comes out averaging 16 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.1 blocks for him, 1 steal. Defensively, he is just a menace out there, still in the prime of his career at 30 years old, and going to be 31 next season, but shooting 39% from the three-point line and 43% on corner threes. He's an amazing spot-up shooter. He can create a lot of stuff, and is just, especially come playoff time, has extreme poise, has played in extremely big moments, and is the elite, is the quintessential, is the guy across the NBA that you'd be looking for. He is the goal, the target for any role player in the NBA, to play around a winning team. He's just that style play. Elite on defense, doesn't do too much, knocks down his open three-point shots, can drive, can slash, can do a lot of different stuff out there on the basketball court, and is the perfect complementary role player. He won a championship with the Boston Celtics just a season ago. Derrick White would be a phenomenal addition to this Toronto Raptors team as we continue to build out the roster around Scottie Barnes. There's more to this report as well. Essentially, as Siegel said, that as a part of unexpected trade discussions held the Celtics this week, sources say the Raptors have created an offer based around the 9th pick in the 2025 NBA draft. The expectations is that if Toronto was to swing a deal for White in the coming hours leading up to Wednesday's draft, they would do so with the involvement of other teams as a part of a larger multi-team trade package. So, this is what's going on. This is what's happening in terms of these discussions. Now, we know when we hear multi-team trade package, it's really tough for a deal to come together. But in terms of a cap framework, in terms of money in, money out for the Toronto Raptors, assuming there's no multiple teams, again, this wouldn't be what the offer is looking like. Just in terms of value out there in the open trade market, and this might frustrate some people, might excite some people, but RJ Barrett, the 9th pick this year, and probably a future first or one of our wing players, is what's going to have to go out for this Toronto Raptors team for Derrick White coming back. That is what the fair market value is. And you might look at the stats and be like, Ben, that's crazy. Derrick White, he's older than RJ Barrett. He's more expensive than RJ Barrett. He's on a longer contract than RJ Barrett. And we look at RJ Barrett's stats, 21, 6, and 5. The the efficiency is a little bit down, but again, he's been developing, he's moving the right direction, stuff like that there. And I completely agree. I'm not in the boat of, hey, this is something we need to get off of in terms of RJ Barrett's play style and all that stuff. It's why I started this movement and keeping RJ Barrett on the Toronto Raptors. It's why I've been out there setting this mob going and things like that. But Derrick White, you have to have a serious discussion about, and including assets in terms of getting something going, because even though one for one, like stat for stat, RJ Barrett's putting up better numbers, putting up better this, in terms of complementary pieces, especially where we have Scottie Barnes, who needs the ball in his hands, where we have Brandon Ingram, who needs the ball in his hand, the ball in his hands, Immanuel Quickley, who needs the ball in his hands right now. RJ Barrett is another player that is most effective on the ball. That's where his stats come. That's where his efficiency comes from. He is an on-the-ball player, and I think this team can work. I'd like to see how things shake out in terms of this roster and how things look here now at this point, because RJ has been able to show he can be effective off the ball, but he's best apt with the ball in his hands. Derrick White is best apt when he's complementing different places, when he's effective on defense. He can lock in on that end of the floor, be a floor spacer, do all these things out there on the basketball court. So he is what you are looking for in terms of a complementary piece around Scottie Barnes and Brandon Ingram. He is just, you couldn't in a machine, create a better fit around those guys than a Derrick White. So, you add Derrick White to this team, you're hoping RJ Barrett molds into that style of player as we get this stuff going. And of course, there's a lot of people that are concerned about Scottie Barnes' long-term future and how he fits and stuff like that. But if you have a deal like this on the table, I know the first-round picks are a tough loss, but the Raptors have a ton of young guys out there on this roster, and this immediately catapults us into that conversation in the Eastern Conference. The same way the Desmond Bane trade did with the Orlando Magic. You get one of those, Derrick White, was he an all-star last season? I know there was a big push for him to make the all-star team last season ago, but basically you get an all-star role player. You get an all-star complementary piece around this team, and then you really have a lot of shooting around Scottie Barnes. You have a lot of pieces out there on this team, and I don't know. I know it's a lot. I'm going against a lot of things, but frankly, one of the most disappointing moments in my life, and people said I was overreacting this. I think I probably said this on YouTube, was when the Boston Celtics acquired Derrick White from the San Antonio Spurs. I was infuriated. I was mad. I was frustrated. I was genuinely rotted when they made that trade. And this is before Derrick White was that level of basketball player. I am a Derrick White stan in terms of his caliber of play out there on the court. So, I know I'm biased. I know I love my Raptors. RJ Barrett's my favorite Toronto Raptor on the team right now, but I'd like for the deal to not include RJ, maybe find different ways to get money out or something along those lines. But this is a very, very intriguing offer that I think really, Derrick White just inserted. It's not, necessarily the replacement Derrick White for RJ Barrett, but a team like a winged set of Derrick White, Scottie Barnes, and Brandon Ingram. Then off the bench, you have Ochai Agbaji, you have Gradey Dick, you have Jakob Poeltl. Those pieces complement each other so well. There's three-point shooting, there's defense, there's really just everything you want out there in the team. The roster makes more sense in terms of just balance, in terms of overall construction, stuff like that there. So it's intriguing, it's exciting. If this move ends up going down, there's going to be a lot of stuff to break down on the channel. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Anyways, you guys best thing as far as subscribe to the channel. I'm signing out.